Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Gilliland, attorney blogger on Bowtie Law. With me today is Howard Reissner, CEO of Planet Data. We're going to talk about a blog post Howard recently wrote based upon an eDiscovery survey that was conducted in the profession. So, Howard, how are you today?
Good afternoon, Josh. I'm great.
Excellent. Well, let's talk eDiscovery. Now, this survey came out, and could you tell us what you observed in the survey and what you noted about the changes in eDiscovery in your blog post?
Well, the reason I wrote the blog was because the survey pointed out something that we have been seeing here at Planet Data for the past 6 months or 8 months of this year, is that number one, there's a lot more cases are starting to be managed again in eDiscovery, and not only are there more cases, but the cases are larger in scope, and regardless of how large they are all containing increasing amounts of electronic data.
What challenges are law firms facing because of these changes, and how's that echoing out to their service providers?
Well, I think it cuts across not just law firms, but the corporate entities as well. So you're seeing, because some people delegate that out to their law firms, some corporations handle this or try to handle it in-house, some work in a hybrid manner. But what we're seeing is that, number one, there are more cases being filed. The cases that are being managed now all contain some component of eDiscovery, so that even mid-sized law firms, corporations, are seeing more eDiscovery being thrown into the mix of their cases. And as the data sets become larger and larger, because more data is being created, and it's being created in many more modalities and many more complexities within those modalities. So a few years ago, you just basically would get information that would be in emails or server data, or shared files. Now you're getting enormous amounts of data that's being created in social media, that are in phones, in tablets, across a lot of different modalities, in texts, and all of that data and information, of course, is potentially responsive to a discovery request.
What could you tell us about any changes in pricing that we were seeing and those impacts upon law firms and corporate clients?
Well, we're still in obviously a very difficult economic environment, and so while there's more data and more complex data, there's continuing pressure emanating from the corporate clients to keep the overall cost of discovery in check. And as a result of that, what you're having is accreting size of the data sets, but you're having a diminution in the ability to charge per unit. So larger data sets, but more compression and pressure on unit pricing.
Are there new expectations about search efficiency given the changes that we're seeing from sizes of data sets and what lawyers have to look at?
No, absolutely. I mean, what has not changed is that the largest component, pricing component cost of discovery, is the cost of document review. And since the raw data sets have gotten so much larger and continue to do so, there's increasing pressure from the corporate client to keep the cost of review as efficient, succinct, and only focusing on the most responsive or the responsive information, but getting to it in the most efficient manner. So as a result of that, there's certainly unit cost pressure, which is starting to really put an emphasis on efficiencies and ability to get through data sets in a very accurate, efficient manner.
Well, let's talk about solutions to these challenges. What do you think will help this new world order that law firms and corporate clients are experiencing?
Well, I think for a few years you could basically, license some third-party software, throw a few platforms together, and even if you didn't control the data sets, pricing component was rich enough, I guess, that you could still do relatively well. But I think at the end, on the high end of the performance ladder, where you're dealing with large, complex, raw data sets, demanding clients with tight deadlines for a lot of types of investigations or second requests, where the turnarounds are quite brief. You really have to have very strong and an efficient workflow, technology platform, an ability to get it into a reviewable mode in the most efficient manner possible. And so that is really putting a lot of pressure on service providers to be able to do all of that and still give what is, I believe, is critical, a very, very strong level of client support and expertise along with that.
What are you seeing with scalability, with this issue?
Well, I think also in the sense that a lot of technology platforms were built in a period where they just couldn't envision that you have to be able to process this amount of both large and complex and varied types of information, some of which changes continuously so that you have to program around it, you have to build new modules, you have to be flexible, you have to be able to meet a client's specific or proprietary requests. So it's putting a lot of added pressure now on ability to handle these kinds of data sets in an efficient manner. And again, I think a lot of people just could not have foreseen a few years ago where we would be on this today.
It is fascinating to think about these issues. Have you had any case examples that come to mind that, when you think of project management and the scalability, that have been in the news recently that we could look at as an example?
Obviously the large, more complex cases get in the news, but we had one client in August that had a need to process 7 terabytes of data in that 1 month and get it all done correctly on time, and in the review platform we were able to do that. They told us there are very few people they've dealt with that could have been able to accomplish that.
I'm a huge fan of project management and the issues that we have in eDiscovery is not done off the cuff. You have people who know what they're doing. There has to be communication. There has to be workflows defined. What are you seeing in the world of project management as it relates to these changes and solutions?
I think project management has always been a critical criteria for the discovery management. I think the people that have been successful at this, regardless of what your technology platform is, again, I don't believe there's discovery in a box. Every case is different. It's rapidly changing. Attorneys and lit support people need assistance and guidance to navigate these shoals. And I think that the project management component of this is just critical. And I don't think that's going to not only go away, but I think it's going to become even more important going forward. As we said, we're dealing in an increasingly complex environment.
I agree. So if people wanted to check out your blog post and learn more about Planet Data, where can they do so?
They can find us at www.planetdata.com.
Outstanding. Well, Howard, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you in person as soon as our schedules allow. And thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you very soon.
Great chatting with you. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Howard.